Hey guys, Michael from Copper vs Glass, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you my final thoughts and opinions on the Hyperion Launcher. Around a month ago I done an initial setup using Hyperion and I went through all of the options that you've got available. It's a pretty long video, around 17 minutes, but it will be linked in the description, and it's a nice launcher. For me, the main launcher that I've used for many years now has been Nova Launcher, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are the same, but Hyperion Launcher has been making some noise recently, so I thought I would check it out and give it a look. Now, I've actually been using the launcher for around a month now, or just over 1 month, and today I'm going to be giving you guys my overall thoughts and opinions. Now, it's going to be on my OnePlus 7T. I've got everything all set up and ready to go, so let's jump into it. So first off then, we have my home screen, and as you can see I do keep it very minimal. Now for me, a lot of the time when I was using maybe an LG phone or something from Samsung for example, I would try and keep it as stock as possible by using something like Nova Launcher. Now although I'm using a OnePlus 7T here with Oxygen OS, which is a very stock launcher, I still want to keep it looking very simple on my home screen. I'm not really into all of the fancy and sometimes a little bit complicated Android customization, where yes, it can look really nice, but in terms of how it functions and how it actually works, it can be a little bit complicated. And again, if I'm handing my phone over to someone else to use, for example, I want them to feel at home. So obviously, as you can see here on my main home screen, we do have the Google search at the top there. We've then got my Appy Weather application there for the widget. And then down the bottom, we've got my 5 most used applications at the top. And then pretty much my daily applications there on the bottom. Now, this whole setup is going to be based on the transparency theme of Hyperion Launcher, which I'll get onto in just a moment. But basically what it means is, as you can see when I go into my application drawer, it does have a translucent background, so you can still see through it to the wallpaper. It's not going to be black or white like a lot of themes on Android, so again, a little bit nice to switch it up a little bit. Now that transparency theme also carries through over to the search bar as well, which also has that transparent look to it, and if my wallpaper did go any further up to the top for example, you would see some of the wallpaper through the actual search bar itself. But heading into the actual settings of Hyperion Launcher, a long press on the home screen will bring up your settings panel. So at the top I've got Google Assistant shortcuts, home settings, edit pages, icon pack, widgets and wallpapers. Now the bottom 3 are pretty much standard on the majority of Android devices, and again with the OnePlus 7T's built-in Oxygen launcher, you can also change things like the icon pack from within the settings as well, which again is quite handy to have. So heading into the home settings now, the first thing that we're greeted with is going to be the colours. Now here, as you can see, the theme is transparent, but you do have some other options in there as well, and the accent colour I've got to this blue colour, which also transpires into the application itself. So as you can see, some of the main titles along the left hand side here, like themes, search bar, folder example, are then going to be that same blue accent. Now when I go into my application drawer, again you can see you've got a little scroll wheel just on the right hand side there, and again if I swipe that down, which again for some reason it's not now doing, you can then see there that it's going to be on the side and it's then going to have that same accent color to it as well. Now that's not going to transfer over to the actual OS itself. If I go into my quick settings for example, that color is going to be based on the actual phone and not on the launcher, so that's definitely something to keep in mind if you do want to mix and match some colors. Heading back into the settings then, I haven't got anything else coloured in the actual application as you can see, so the search bar, Google Calendar, folder, dock, everything is going to be exactly as I like it to be, which again is just going to be that standard transparency theme, but with all these colours turned off, it just looks a little bit simpler. Iconography, as you can see, you can switch it up for everything, so if you wanted to have different icons for the dock, folders or on your desktop, then you've got the option to do so. For me, the icon pack that I'm currently using is CandyCons, and again that will be linked in the description down below, but it is very simple to change. Now in my initial setup video I did mention the fact that sometimes the icon pack wouldn't actually apply to the launcher, but it's very simple. If you just basically lock and unlock your phone, it will then have the icon pack installed. So again, if that's something that you guys are having some trouble with, a quick lock and unlock of the device will then have the icon pack then in the launcher itself. Icon shape, I've just got it set to circle, and that's mainly based on the actual icon pack itself, and that's actually kind of it. I don't have notification dots turned on because for me, I'm not a fan of those little dots on the actual icon itself, and a lot of the time notifications are just going to be in the notification shade anyway, so that's just how I prefer it. Heading back then, we've then got the font options, which I do keep the same, the layout and interface. So for this one, I don't really have anything turned on apart from show folder title. So if I do have any folders on my home screen, it will show the title just so that I know exactly what's going to be in that folder. Pretty much the rest of it is going to be turned off, as you can see, and some of these options are something that you may not really need to worry about anyway. Heading into the desktop, the only thing that I've got turned on is the full width widgets. So when I am using widgets on my home screen, they are going to go right to the very edge of the screen, and I have that tiny little bit of the edge there. So if you do have maybe a more blocky kind of widget, for example, it's going to go right to the edge of the screen, which can look a little bit nicer. Everything else I've pretty much got turned off. And again, like I mentioned, although I am using this launcher on a regular basis, the main purpose for me to use this launcher is to make it as simple and easy to use as possible. Now, it has actually allowed for that quite nicely. The actual setup process itself didn't take very long, and getting everything set up exactly how I like it, again, didn't really take all that long. I was mainly doing it for maybe around an hour or so, just to get it exactly how I like it, and once it was done, it was set up and ready to go, and I haven't really changed anything in the month that I've been using it. Next up then, we do have the grid options. Now for me, I keep it as 5 columns and 9 rows, because in regards to the actual desktop itself, that just allows for nice widget placement and to have a ton more things on the screen. The drawer columns are set to 5 to 7, which is pretty much the same as stock Android. Once I got into my application drawer, I don't really want to see too many icons all bunched together, and then the dock is going to be exactly the same at 5 and with only 1 page. You can have multiple pages to the dock, so for example, if you wanted to swipe left or right on the bottom there, you can do, but for me, I have it turned off, again, just to keep it a little bit more simple. Next up then, we do have the widgets. So for me, I've got the Google search turned on, and I've also then got it to show in the app drawer as well. So for me, as you can see, I've got my search bar at the top there, but when I again go into the application drawer, you can see then that the search bar carries through and is at the top there as well. So again, if I wanted to use it either place, I've got the option to do so. Going back into the settings, we've then got some gestures down the bottom here. Now for me, I do have some of these turned on, so double tap to lock the screen is very nice and simple to have. Swipe up is going to give me my app drawer, which will be anywhere on my home screen, it doesn't have to be at the bottom, which is quite nice. Swipe down for notifications. I don't have a home button, I don't use the back button, and I also don't really have anything turned on for any 2-finger gestures as well, because again, it's a little bit cumbersome and something I'm not really going to use all that often. We've then got the animations. So for me, my animation speed is set to fast. So when you're actually moving around the launcher and around your OS, it's going to be a little bit quicker than what it would be with some stock launchers. Now the default launch animation is just going to be the default one. You can change up to pulse, but again, even with the fast animation speed, it slows things down a little bit. I do have the bounce physics turned on, and basically all that is when you go into your application drawer, when you slide to the bottom, you can see that it does have a slight bounce to it, and that's kind of all that does, to be honest. So again, nothing too special, but I just like how it looks. We then got Profile Manager, which I haven't really gone into. Integrations. Now for this one, I do have the display Google feed. Now again, once you actually get into Hyperion Launcher, you will have to download some other applications to get some of this stuff working as well. But for me, what it means then is when I'm on my home screen, I can just swipe across left to right, and then I'm going to be in the Google feed, which again is something that I really do miss from using a Pixel device. On stock Android, for example, when you're using the One Plus line of devices, you have the shelf off to the left-hand side, which isn't really all that useful to me. For me, having Google now right here with all of the news and information that I care about is actually quite handy to have. And to be honest, guys, that's kind of it in regards to the settings that I've got. If I just head back into the settings, just double check that I haven't really missed anything, which, yeah, I really haven't. So again, I know it looks very stock and maybe a little bit boring to some people, but for me, having a stock-ish version of Android running on any device that I'm going to be using is definitely key to use. Now, so you do have some backup functionality with Hyperion Launcher, so if I wanted to save this setup, for example, and move over to a different device, if I install Hyperion Launcher, I can then get everything set up exactly like this on that new device, which again is quite handy to have. Now, I did use that feature a ton with Nova Launcher, so it's great to see it with Hyperion Launcher, just allow you to carry on setups through multiple devices if you need to. Obviously, the wallpaper that I'm currently using is just one that I've downloaded myself, and it will be linked in that description down below in the Google Drive folder that I've recently set up to feature all of the wallpapers that I do here on the channel. And that's actually going to do it, guys, for this video. Now, I know that it may have been, not the most exciting video out there, but for me, using Hyperion Launcher has actually been quite a nice experience. But the main question is it going to take me away from Nova Launcher? Well, to be honest, I'm not really using Nova Launcher either. For me, I'm actually just using the built-in OnePlus launcher here on my device. So again, if I just head back into my settings real quick, into my actual home settings, search for home, Go into the default apps, go down to the home app and change that back to the OnePlus launcher. Then you can see here how it's going to look with my built-in OnePlus launcher, which again looks very stock and very simple, because that's just what I like when it comes to Android setups. But if you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave it a thumbs up down below. And if you've got any questions or comments about Hyperion Launcher or anything else here on the channel, let me know in that comment section below or on Twitter at Copper vs Glass. For more great content, don't forget to subscribe. And once you are subscribed, turn on that notification bell so that you're notified anytime that I post a new video here on the channel. I'm Michael from Copper vs Glass. This has been my final thoughts and review of Hyperion Launcher, and I will catch you guys in the next video.